In this special episode of Just Seen It, we look back at the most underrated movies of 2013 and give them a second look.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Brenna. And today we're here to talk about the most underrated films of 2013. We're going to look at comedy, blockbuster, and horror. We're going to start our conversation talking about comedies.
For me, the underrated comedy of 2013 was In a World, starring, written, directed, and produced by Lake Bell. This was a Sundance favorite. It won Best Screenplay at Sundance. The quirk that Lake Bell brought to this particular film was wonderful. Her comedic timing is great. All of the actors, the casting was very eclectic, and it gave us insight into a world that we have never seen before, which is the world of voiceover actors or people who do movie trailers. I mean, this is a fascinating world with people who have really wonderful, dramatic voices. And it was this male-dominated world, and Lake's character, all she wanted to do was to be able to crack this world and get into it. And I just thought it was just really good fun. But I'm hoping that, by calling it out as one of 2013's underrated films, that everyone will stream it, they'll spend some time hunkering down and watching In a World, ...
How about you, Kevin? What did you think was the most underrated comedy?
Enough Said, with James Gandolfini and Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
I almost picked that.
Did you?
Almost.
I was a little worried, actually, when you were about to say it. I'm like, shoot, she might pick mine. It had a really perceptive script. We don't usually see movies about adult dating, and it was still relatable, I think, to all ages. Julie Louis-Dreyfus I don't know why she's not a movie star. She's fantastic. Right. She's hilarious. She can do comedy and drama. She's great. James Gandolfini, his last film role, so good.
Really sweet.
Very, very sweet.
Very sweet movie.
Yeah, I found it to be very relatable, actually, even though I thought maybe I wouldn't get it because it was about people twice my age dating. But I still was able to identify with it and found it just as humorous.
Yeah.
My choice was The World's End.
Of course.
Yeah. We all know my affinity for Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg films, and this is the last one in the Cornetto trilogy. It's not as good as Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, but I still found it very entertaining. The World's End is with aliens, and the alien part isn't what's amusing about this film. This film is amusing because of the character relationships and the dynamics we have here. And we have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost sort of switching roles. Simon Pegg is usually the straight man while Nick Frost is the bumbling idiot. And it's switched here. And the way that Simon Pegg played this aging elder goth who is trying to recapture his youth, it was brilliant. And it's one of my favorite Simon Pegg performances. It came out, it sort of fizzled here, didn't do very well here. It was received more warmly in the UK. All right, well, let's move on to the topics of blockbusters. How about you start us off, Kevin?
My choice was The Wolverine. I'm getting kind of sick of the comic book movie to an extent. I like them, but it's just action sequence after action sequence to make a splash. Here, the action sequences were a part of the plot. They were very intrinsic to what was going on, but it also had lengthy sections where they would just talk. And it wasn't just expository. They developed character, and you got to meet all the different characters and learn more about them. That's what I really liked about it. So it felt like a real comic book. It also felt like an adult crime thriller, like The Departed, or James Mangold also directed Copland. Felt something like that, so I thought it was very adult. And I was kind of surprised that people didn't gravitate towards it like I expected them to, and I think it's really worth seeing.
Well, there was Marvel released a comic book series called Marvel Noir, which was very much like that. It was film noir-styled comic books, and they didn't do very well, so I can kind of understand why that style may not have been as popular with the comic book crowd. What was your choice?
Pacific Rim. I know that I'm gonna get a lot of heat and a lot of flack for that, but I think some of the disappointment around Pacific Rim was that people had big expectations with the mixture of the kind of hybridizing these different genres, this Japanese anime and monster movies and all of that, and I didn't know anything about it. I went in with zero expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's a throwback to old-style monster movies and robot movies where robots are controlled by humans and they just took them and threw them in together in the same film. So the filmmakers said that it was really dedicated to people like Ray Harryhausen and Ishiro Honda. So Harryhausen gave us all of those great robot movies from the 50s, and Honda gave us Godzilla, which was influenced by King Kong. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and neither should you. You should just get a big bucket of popcorn, get a hot dog, sit back, rent it on DVD, and enjoy it.
And my pick for Blockbuster is World War Z. This film it has the opportunity to say many things. It has the opportunity for great social commentary, but it avoids it.
Right.
Very carefully because foreign markets are lucrative. There were cases of things being cut from the film because they didn't want to offend possible
Right.
foreign markets. Like they cut a line about the virus originating in China. They cut a scene in Bangladesh and that kind of stuff. So it's PG-13. So there's a lot of punches pulled. It doesn't have the same social commentary we come to expect from zombie movies, but it does have one thing that no other zombie movie has, and that's scale. We have spectacle. This film is a spectacle. We see zombies on a scale that we've never seen before, and it's fantastic. And it was done with a PG-13 rating. It's really impressive.
And
that,
I didn't miss the gore.
Yeah.
I mean, it was obvious. There was times where, you know, they would hold on Brad Pitt going, rah, 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 and they wouldn't show anything. And I'm like, yeah, they're specifically not showing anything. But I don't need to see that to enjoy the story.
And it has Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt saves it from the moments when we don't have the spectacle to keep us entertained. He keeps the film afloat throughout. I think that a lot of people were expecting it to be like the book and had disappointments because of that. But if you look at it as its own film, loosely, very loosely based on the book,
Right.
you can enjoy it thoroughly.
And that's one of the ones that every time it comes on cable, you can just ambient viewing. You just watch it over and over and over again because you will miss something. You will have missed something from previous viewings.
Speaking of scary,
Right. Scary, good segue.
Why don't you go first this time?
Oh, okay.
What was your underrated horror flick for 2013?
It's a Canadian indie film called Antiviral. Antiviral is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, and it really found success on Netflix. And the very premise of this film is gross and horrific. It's a near future where everybody is obsessed with celebrity. And one of the ways that they try to get closer to their favorite celebrity is they'll go and get infected with a disease that has been harnessed from the body of their favorite celebrity.
That is disgusting.
So we see a guy who goes in and gets the herpes simplex virus from his favorite celebrity, and they're asking, which side do you want it on? Our lead character, Sid, works at one of these designer disease companies, and he gets a disease that just killed a celebrity. So he has to unravel the mystery surrounding her death to be able to save himself. And while it's mainly psychological horror, there's still some great gore effects. There's some just very tiny things that's used sparsely and very effectively to make your skin crawl and just go, oh.
My pick is Mama. I found this movie fascinating. And I'll tell you why.
So did I, for 5 different reasons.
For very different reasons. I have to say that I do like these kind of fairy tale qualities and folklore qualities that we find in a lot of our horror films. This film is reminiscent of Latin American folklore about La Llorona, about this woman who spends all eternity looking for her children, and it's like a boogeyman. If you're bad children, La Llorona is going to come and get you. And so Mama is the story about these two little girls who wind up being taken care of by this spectral figure in the woods by themselves for like 5 years until they're discovered by their uncle, and then he takes them back to civilization. We've got very interesting casting going on in this film.
To say the least.
You know, we've got Jessica Chastain with dark hair.
She's a punk rocker.
Yeah, she's a punk rocker and tats and this short Joan Jett kind of hairstyle.
I wasn't buying it.
You know, well, you know, I almost to the point that I didn't even know it was Jessica Chastain for a
Really?
while. So I bought that. I bought that. And then we have Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who we know from Game of Thrones. One of the things that really threw a lot of people off about Mama was this very non-Hollywood ending. And it lingered with me for a long time and made me wonder what was really going on behind that choice for that ending. And I have to say that I can't figure it out, and I'll continue to ponder it. And I think other people should watch it. And if you figure it out, shoot me an email and let me know what that ending means.
So my pick for horror film is You're Next. The posters make it look kind of like The Strangers, where, you know, it's a home invasion, people wearing masks come in and attack this family. What's interesting about this film is the director, Adam Wingard, he sets up this dynamic family relationship. They're all coming home for some celebration, and there's a lot of, you know, issues within the family that they will continue to play out throughout the entire run of the movie as they're getting attacked by people. But they do it in a kind of a humorous way. The reasons why I like Your Next is that it's funny. It actually is suspenseful. So there was still, you know, you're still grabbing onto your seat. You're still jumping when you should be jumping, but you're also laughing at certain things. And it just made it fun again. These movies have been so kind of depressing and boring and predictable. And this one just made me really have a great time.
All right, well, those are some very interesting choices from you guys. I hope that you enjoyed my choices as well.
I'm going to see them all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To being underrated.
Aw.
Oh, you spilled.
AJA Video Systems, proud supporter of Just Seen It, offers a wide range of professional acquisition and post-production solutions. Learn more at aja.com/PTV.